think about like research advisor, supervisor, boss, whoever at one time had a position of authority over you, a valuative position of authority of you. And I want you to imagine like, maybe you kind of made a couple of mistakes on your last project, something like that. You haven't heard much from this person. And then Friday morning, you get an email, pretty short wording that just says, I need to speak with you at 4:00.
Right.
Okay. What do you think you're feeling?
Well, I know. So in that moment, my heart rate increased. I noticed I have tension. I have like a knot in kind of my neck right here by the scapula. Breathing got shallow, and immediately it was, even though this is hypothetical, it was like, oh shit, like what did I do? What's happening?
Yeah.
So immediately it went to threat, danger, tension, fight or flight, sympathetic.
Totally. Yeah. So the first step in checking the facts is to figure out what you're feeling. And I want you to be specific, right? Brian just did an awesome job of like walking through the different components of what he's feeling. If I were going to challenge you to like put a label to that, like what's the specific emotion you think you're feeling, Brian?
I mean, so I would say there's definitely anxiety. It's about the future, but there was also fear. It felt immediate, but on reflection, this is anxiety.
Yeah, this is anxiety. What's going to happen? Future related, right? Threat. How intense do you think you feel? Like scale of like, 0 pina colada on a beach to 100, like I'm pulling my hair out, crying. I don't know, how I can tolerate this another moment. Where do you think the intensity is?
At the peak there for me, I'm on the other side. If I was still in grad school, it'd be different. I would say I got to about a 35 or a 40.
Yeah. So it's uncomfortable. It's causing some distress, right? It's not super overwhelming, but it's probably bursting into your mind like the Kool-Aid man a little bit, right? Your physiology has changed and your behavior might start to change as well, right? So this is a great spot to use this skill. So the first step is you've got to know specifically what you're feeling, and I want you to write that out. If you're like me, I kind of experienced, at least, before becoming a therapist, doing all this DBT work, I experienced emotions like a fog. I could tell you if I was feeling good or bad, but I didn't really know if it was shame or guilt or anxiety or sadness or anger or contentedness or boredom or whatever those were. And so I think, in DBT, they do some great work. There's these 10 handouts, page 213 to 224, because I've taught skills groups for 5 years. But these handouts that, do a really good job of breaking down like, hey, here's like kind of like the 10 universal emotions. Here's synonyms for these, but like, these are the, the kind of like umbrellas of the emotions. Here's different words that we describe them. Here's what it feels like. So if you're like that, like go flip through those, find the specific thing, like challenge yourself to be an emotion detective and put words to it. Is it disgust? Is it shame? Is it anxiety? Whatever it is. So in this case, it's anxiety, right? It's uncomfortable. The second step here is to ask what the prompting event is. And this is where you're going to start writing. I want you to, Brian, you're going to write out what is it that seemed to happen right before you started feeling this. And I want you to, like police report style, no adjectives, just write out what happened, right? Take it a timeline approach. And so you're going to write out, last week I submitted my expense reports, 2 days after the deadline and got no response. The next day, earlier this week, my boss reprimanded me for not turning in my expense reports in front of the whole team, right? And then today, and then you might, throw another fact in there that like today I received an email that says I need to speak with you at 4:00, right? So, Brian, you know this, but like, what are some of the things that are not in that?
Yeah, what I didn't hear, and I was listening for it to see if you do it, which is, so evaluations, opinions, evaluative judgments. This was good or bad, right or wrong. They should or shouldn't have said that. Just the facts. I tend to think about this. What is something you could prove in a court of law? Right. These are things that actually happened. If there was a video recorder or an audio recorder switched on, just the facts of what happened. That's what I heard you say. No assumptions, no guesswork.
Totally. So that's exactly right. Like you're really just trying to focus on, really court of law, police report style, like just lay out what happens. We get a picture of what's going on, right? There is a spot for bringing in your thoughts, right? But you want to really pay attention, because a lot of times we treat our thoughts like facts, and that's not true, right? So I didn't put in there, I'm going to get fired today, right?
Yep.
Because it's not a fact. I haven't been fired yet. Don't know what speak with me means, but like my brain wants me to be like, dude, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. It's going to happen now, right? Put that down. Like, we need to plan for this, right? So step back, notice what just happened, right? Now then in step 3, and this is where I'm going to really pull you in, Brian, is